So right now, the number one recruiting class in the country belongs to the USC Trojans. Made a big move to get a general manager in the offseason here, and it's paying dividends. Defensive line class today added another with Jake Johnson from Prosper, Texas. And as I pull up the film here, this is a guy who not super highly rated, right? At a 3-star on the composite and on 247's rankings. But you see the track background and you see some of the stuff on tape that you could see why USC has some interest in adding this guy to a very strong defensive line class already.
Strong class in general, and I think you're seeing Chad Bowden's impact on this class, right? Because not only are you doing a much better job of keeping the best players home, which was a major focus, keep the best players in California, I think you're also seeing just some national scouting where you're really scouting guys. That's why they pay. You don't just get a GM because he's going to help you land the best players in the country. That's a lot of NIL. It's a lot of head coach. It's a lot of other things besides position coach, recruiting skill than the GM. One of the competitive advantages the GM gives you is the ability to scout. I think that is what you are seeing here with Jake Johnson. Not that he is a total sleeper. I mean, this is a guy who has big schools after him. But really, with talking about North Carolina, SMU, who's in the playoff, Wisconsin, TCU, which is the local school. But what you're seeing is scouting, and it reminds me of the wide receiver they just took from Texas, who with Cohen Brown, who we did a video on from Waxahachie, Texas. Somebody who had
was it Corey Brown?
Cohen Brown.
That's right.
Yeah. So he had some track numbers. He had production. He played in very good competition, and then Bowden saw that and said, listen, I know we're focused on California, and they've landed 13 players from the state of California already in this elite recruiting class, but that doesn't stop them from going to Texas and saying, let's get somebody who maybe this guy goes to TCU and he develops into an NFL player. We see those guys all the time, or they go to Baylor, right? And then they're in the NFL, and you're wondering, why didn't Texas go after him? Why didn't Texas A&M go after him? Well, USC is trying to get in on that and do some scouting and get a guy like this who plays offense, he plays defense, he plays special teams, he's flexible.
Man. That was the main thing I saw with him.
They're seeing him on special teams. I think that's key. He also is a good offensive lineman. That's really how he started playing. So he's still trending up as a defensive lineman. You see him here stout in the point of attack, using his hands, just bringing a physical brand of football from Texas to the West Coast. This is a team and a program who I don't think I'm going to offend USC fans by saying this. They need to get more physical on the lines. I think the biggest difference between what you saw at USC when they were dominant and what you've seen in USC when they've been highly inconsistent is that toughness and physicality on the offensive and defensive lines. I think a guy like this helps bring that to you, along with the upside. He's got power in his hands. He's a shot putter. Plays every unit. But you see some movement skills, but really I think you see just a really solid football player who, as you put more weight on him, and he's not small, but put some more weight on him, he can bring a physical presence to you on that defensive line.
Yeah, I really like this pickup, the flexibility as we were talking about a moment ago. I mean, that's what I see with him at his size and the motor. And look, right now he's primarily just using a power rush, a bull rush. So once that arsenal moves can open up, I mean, it'll be really nice to see. But just the pure power at the point of attack, like we were talking about as well.
Play some tight end on offense just to go to the flexibility. Some more blocking tight end, but who will line up
look at him. Look at him bend the edge there. Yeah.
You see the flexibility, man. I'm a big flex. A lot of this you could just see from the stance sometimes, particularly with linemen. You see the stance and you see what kind of flexibility they have in getting off the ball. Over 41 feet in the shot put, so he has some ability there. And you look at this defensive line class, man. Talking about Samote Kotoanga, Jamian Winfield, who's not originally from he's not originally from Texas. I think he's originally from the deep South. But you go into Texas and land a highly coveted player in Winfield. Tom Topoi, who we talked about a ton. We did a video on him. Love his game. I think he has more talent than even his high rating. Braden Jones, Andrew Williams, Malik Brooks. This is a loaded defensive line class going back to the days of Patterson, Cody, Udezi. Real USC football starts up front. Offensive line they're working on. Defensive line, I think, is at a tremendous place as we sit here April 7th with the USC Trojans. And there's a reason why their recruiting class is ranked number 1 in the country as we sit here April 7th. This is not going to necessarily boost that rating, but it's not just about getting all the stars. You did not get Chad Bowden just for the stars. You got him to evaluate, and that's what this kid is.
Well, and you mentioned the O-line, and I'm looking at their commits here. They're two lowest rated guys on the composite for 247 here, our offensive linemen. But let's look at their size here real quick. You got 6'6", 350, and I haven't watched either one of these, but I would imagine as both of them are commits in the last month here, like these are recent evaluations, right? And you're looking at 6'6", 350 for John Fafita, and then 6'7", 290 for Chase Dennis. So, or Denise, I don't know how to say it, but we should take a look at those guys in another video, D. But I would imagine those traits are pretty good at that size right there.
Yeah, and then look at where they're from. San Diego and San Francisco Bay. So keeping it local, keeping California kids home, I think is critical. But then also, like we're talking about here with Johnson, going out of state and landing guys that are undervalued, maybe even by their own schools, which we see all the time. There are tons of Texas kids drafted every year. They don't all go to Texas. They don't all go to Texas A&M. So I think that's a big part of it.